Good day, everyone. I want to say a few words about the qualities that I've experienced living in this country, this beautiful country. I've lived in Alberta for 2.5 years. I've lived in Prince Edward Island for about the same 2.5 years. I was born and raised in Quebec. I've lived in Ontario for 27 years, maybe a little longer. I was also a truck driver for a very long time, and I've been all across this beautiful country. My criticism is with the governments. But the people, you can't beat the people here in this country. In Alberta, they're very friendly. The joke in Alberta at that time in the 80s, early 80s, was you got to find a true Albertan. I'm not being mean when I say it. It was a joke back then in the early 80s. Probably still now is. But the people would go out of their way, like most people in this country, would help you out. The mountains, waking up, seeing the mountains made the world a difference. The foothills were to die for. The city, Calgary, was very interesting, to say the least. It was fun. PEI in Charlottetown. I lived there for, like I said, 2 years, 2.5 years. Beautiful province. A little bit hellish in the wintertime, to be honest, but it was still a beautiful province. Beautiful city. Charlottetown was a beautiful little city. The summertime, yes, full of tourists, but the people would also go out of their way to help you out, make sure everything you needed was there. The Newfoundlanders, unbelievable people. The Newfies were unbelievable people. I think the history has shown time in and time out how perfect the people are in Newfoundland. 9/11 rings about what they did for the people on the plains. Even recently, with the Titan going, the people were there, were phenomenal. Quebec's a fun province. The French culture in Quebec, I would say that the French was a lot like New Yorkers. That's how I used to say it. When you go to New York, down to Manhattan or Bronx or Queens, it reminds you of Quebec, the French, because they have no issues telling you what they think. They one blink of an eye, they can tell you exactly what they feel like or how they feel towards you, which is phenomenal. And the culture is rich. It is rich, very rich. Very honest. Sometimes a little too honest. But good people all the way around. Yes, we do have some issues with the French and the English, but it's no big deal. We've always managed to get around it. I got good friends still in Quebec, and they handle it. They deal with it. Ontario, after speaking about Quebec and then I mentioned Ontario, that's funny. Believe me. It's I don't know, it's tough Toronto is a good city. It's very big, very busy city. For the most part, it's a very multicultural, very multicultural Southern Ontario, very multicultural. You get to deal and learn a lot of different cultures in this province. You meet people, you got to deal with them, and you work things out and figure out things. And for the most part, it's good people here. I'm sorry, it's tough. The Canadian military, Navy, Army, Air Force, the best in the world. As far as I'm concerned, the best in the world. They know how to get things done. They may not always have the finest and the newest equipment, technology, but nothing will stop them. When they get something, they got a project to do, and they're on a mission, they'll do it. They'll get it done. Come hell or high water, they will get it done. Nicest bunch of people you ever want to meet. Loyal to the core. There's no finer army, as far as I'm concerned, the Canadian Armed Forces. And Navy, let's include that, because they're tough people. They're all tough people. And women and men. So yeah, I thank you for your service. I mean that sincerely. Keep up the good work. Absolutely. Finest bunch of people I ever met in my life. The scenery in this country is phenomenal. From the Maritimes to Northern Ontario, Niagara Falls, and the prairies, Winnipeg, especially in the wintertime, man, a cold wind will cut right through you. Flat as, let's leave it at that. You know, but the people were nice. They're a bit distant, but they were nice. I've never, it didn't matter what province I was in or what city I was in. I was never afraid. I never felt fear. It was when I used to go to the States. I'm sorry, I'm not going to too much on the States, but when I used to go to the States, I was worried. I was. You never knew what was going to happen. But in Canada, no, it was never doubt for a minute. I was always safe in Canada. And the Alberta with the Rockies and Jasper Park. I used to live in Edson, Alberta for a little bit. That's a story and a half. Mining town. But nice, all around nice. Vancouver, Victoria. I visit my son in Victoria for 3 weeks. I never made it to Victoria because driving a truck, it cost a lot of money to go across the boat ferry. But Vancouver itself, it's beautiful. Like the ocean is right there. You can't miss. You know that. Everybody knows that. Is it expensive to live? Oh, everywhere in Canada is expensive to live to some point. But all in all, this country is the best country in the world. Do we have, again, I don't want to harp on this today. Yes, we have some problems. We'll deal with it. We'll figure it out, like we all do. But this country is phenomenal. I cannot say that enough. Thank you, Canada, from the bottom of my heart. Everyone have a good day. And by the way, you won't hear from me now till Monday. I'm taking a break on Saturday and Sunday. I got to give you guys a break at some point, right? So thanks for listening and have a good weekend.